Roswitha felt speechless about Leon's reaction. Before she could even say anything, his mind had already wandered off to something else. In fact, what she wanted to say and what he was thinking were not the same thing. She said to him with a disgusted expression, "What are you thinking about? Have you ever heard of the three-legged race?" Realizing that he had misunderstood Roswitha's meaning, Leon's face blushed slightly. He looked awkwardly aside and nodded, answering her question. I know. I have seen it before at the Dragon Slaying Academy." Alright, let's begin by practicing this fundamental coordination exercise. Roswitha handed the rope to Leon, intending for him to help tie their legs. Leon reached out his hand to take the rope and answered, "Oh, okay." Leon and Roswitha walked onto the training ground and stood side by side. Then, Leon bent down and used the rope in his hand to tie his left leg and Roswitha's right leg together. Leon felt a bit embarrassed as he looked at the distance between him and Roswitha. Due to their legs being tied together, the distance between them has been brought closer. He tilted his body to the right, as if wanting to keep a distance from Roswitha. He stole a glance at her, and silently said in his heart, "She's too close. It's so awkward." Roswitha seemed to have no reaction to the distance between her and Leon. She closed her eyes and crossed her hands in front of her chest, standing there quietly. After everything was ready, Leon looked ahead with serious eyes and said to Roswitha, "Let's practice quickly and finish quickly." Roswitha didn't answer Leon's words. She still closed her eyes and stood still in place. Leon lifted his leg and was about to move forward, but he found that Roswitha's leg had not moved. She didn't lift her legs and walk forward. He furrowed his brow slightly and felt a little angry. He turned his head and asked Roswitha with a puzzled tone, "Why are you still standing? Hurry up." Roswitha showed a very unhappy expression. She opened one eye and looked at him, seeming impatient with what he was saying. She frowned slightly and said with a dissatisfied tone, "Huh? You don't say where you were going either." If Leon doesn't specify his destination, she can't know where he wants to go. Leon sighed helplessly. He turned his head to look at Roswitha and reached out his hand, pointing to the lawn not far from them. "Let's go to the lawn over there. Even if we fall, it doesn't hurt that much." Leon lifted his leg and walked forward, but Roswitha couldn't keep up with Leon's footsteps, causing him to almost fall. He shook his hand in an attempt to maintain his balance, but accidentally bumped into Roswitha. Roswitha doesn't look too good either, because Leon left without saying a word. She couldn't keep up with his speed. Her body was forced to tilt backwards and she almost fell. She said impatiently, "Hey, don't press me." Leon is also a bit dissatisfied with Roswitha. "You press me first." With their joint efforts, Leon and Roswitha finally walked onto the grass. They all gently clenched their fists and assumed running positions. Before starting the run, Leon said to Roswitha, "Just to be clear, don't slow me down." Roswitha found Leon's confidence quite amusing. She won't be unable to keep up with Leon's running speed. She gave a gentle laugh. Ha! Thank you for providing me with a morning joke. They all looked ahead with serious eyes and gently bent down. Leon started counting down. 3, 2, 1. Go! With Leon's command, Roswitha exerted all her strength and ran forward with all her might. However, at this moment, Leon seemed to feel something was off. His body suddenly tilted backwards, and he even lost his balance a bit. Ah! Leon shouted loudly. Due to the fast running speed of Roswitha, he couldn't keep up with her at all. His body has completely lost balance. Roswitha seemed to have temporarily forgotten that their legs were tied together. She didn't pay attention to what happened to Leon behind her, just ran very seriously. Every time she took a step forward, the rope on her leg loosened a bit. As a result, Leon was dragged behind her like a kite the whole time. Leon can no longer tolerate the feeling of being dragged. He shouted loudly at Roswitha. Stop! His voice echoed in this forest, startling many birds. They flew out of the trees one after another, as if wanting to see who made such a tragic sound. Finally, Roswitha heard his voice and slowly stopped. Leon breathed a sigh of relief. He squatted down and retied the rope to their legs. He felt a bit speechless about Roswitha's understanding of tacit understanding. He complained to her. Do you understand what tacit cooperation is? Roswitha waited quietly for Leon to tie the rope. She closed her eyes and showed an unhappy expression, as if to indicate that the running accident just now was not caused by her. She turned her head and sneered at Leon. Your body size is so large. Why can't you keep up with me? Leon stood up and clapped his hands, removing the dust from his hands. Upon hearing Roswitha's words, he had no intention of refuting her. He said softly, "Humph, I won't bother arguing with you." Leon turned his head to look at Roswitha and explained to her how to practice tacit understanding. Try again. I say, 1. Let's lift the outer leg. I say 2. Let's lift the legs tied together, okay? He extended his index finger and shook it, simulating the rhythm of counting. Roswitha closed her eyes and answered him in a casual tone. Okay. At this moment, without any explanation, Leon suddenly placed his hand on Roswitha's waist. Roswitha looked down and noticed Leon's hand. The distance between her and him suddenly narrowed a bit. She was surprised by his behavior. Her face instantly flushed. She turned her head to look at Leon and said with a tone of confusion and shock, "You!" Leon doesn't seem to have as much thought as Roswitha did. He glanced at her and said very calmly, "This can bring the distance closer and make it easier to move around." Upon hearing what Leon said, Roswitha lowered her head and looked down. She seemed to be trying to endure Leon's behavior and the awkward distance between them. She answered hesitantly, Let's continue. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Leon spoke the command while holding onto Roswitha, walking slowly forward. Following Leon's command, Roswitha slowly lifted her legs. and walked forward with unsteady steps. They adapt to each other's speed. At this moment, the sun slowly rose and shone on the grassland and forest, adding a touch of vitality to the area. The sunshine also shone on Leon and Roswitha, as if hinting at a new breakthrough in their tacit practice. In this way, the tacit understanding of the dragon and the person is slowly improving. Extra story: Queen's special training. In order to improve Leon's physical fitness, Roswitha specially customized some other training for him, such as doing 500 push-ups every day. At this moment, Leon was doing the push-up training designed for him by Roswitha with an impatient expression. In order to achieve effective results in his training, Roswitha even sat on Leon's back and increased his training volume. She looked at him while counting. 1, 2, 3. However, Leon couldn't stand her tormenting him like this. "You're such a dragon at enjoying yourself." When Leon was exhausted and almost unable to hold on, Roswitha would lie under Leon and encourage him. Due to the excessive number of push-ups arranged by Roswitha, Leon was almost unable to hold on. However, Roswitha still refused to let him rest. She got off his back and lay under him. She said to him with a smile on her face, "Hold on, otherwise, you'll be kissing me." Leon lifted his head and gritted his teeth, trying to support his body. "I absolutely don't want to do this." After a while, Leon's push-up training finally came to an end. He lay on the ground very tired, constantly panting. He felt his soul drifting out of his body. Roswitha smiled happily and made a victorious gesture. So, today, Leon successfully completed 500 push-ups.
Hi! Pineapple has a good news to tell you. My app Lullaby can now be downloaded on the App Store and Google Play. You can search for Lullaby Light Novel in the search bar to find the app. After downloading the app, you can read our exclusive novels and comics more easily on your mobile phone. If you are interested, you can download Lullaby from the App Store and Google Play.